Human accepts. Work in an alien village, but the work discovers the job is making babies. The wind carried a faint metallic taste across the barren plains of Valora. Broken machinery lay half buried in the silver dust, the last reminder of a ship that would never fly again. Evan stood at the edge of the wreckage, staring at the empty sky. His hands were scraped, his face marked with soot, and his heart tired. 3 days without a signal, without help, only the strange blue horizon that shimmered like water. He was alone, or at least he thought so. That morning, he saw movement beyond the dunes, tall figures gliding silently, almost floating. Their skin caught the sunlight like crystal, and their eyes shone faintly, not threatening, but calm. When they found him, they didn't speak in words at first. A gentle hum filled the air, a melody that seemed to touch his thoughts. Then one of them, an elder with silver lines on his forehead, stepped forward. "You are human," the elder said slowly, as if testing the shape of the word. Evan nodded, half ready to run, half ready to cry. "Yes, my ship crashed. I need help, food, shelter, anything." The elder tilted his head. "You need a purpose," he said, "and we need a worker. Come." Evan hesitated, but the others had already begun to walk away, silent, graceful shadows in the sand. With nothing left behind him but wreckage, he followed. They brought him to a valley where the air shimmered gold. Homes grew out of the rock like living shells. The people moved in harmony. No arguments, no noise. Everything looked peaceful, almost too perfect. They gave him food, soft glowing fruit that melted like honey, and a place to rest near a quiet lake. When Evan asked about work, the elder smiled. "Tomorrow," he said, "you begin your task." Evan tried to ask what kind of task, but the elder only placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "It is a gift. Few are chosen." That night, Evan couldn't sleep. He watched the sky through the window, 2 moons crossing paths above the lake. He felt safe, yet uneasy. Narrator's voice softens. Before we go further, my friends, if you enjoy these kinds of human and alien stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It helps more people find these tales of hope and mystery. Now, back to the story. Morning came with a strange silence. A young alien guided him toward a tall crystal building at the center of the village. It wasn't made of stone or metal. It was alive, glowing with a soft pulse, like it was breathing. "This is the Hall of Continuance," said the young alien. "Your work begins inside." The door slid open without sound. Inside, Evan saw rows of transparent pods, cocoons, each filled with light and moving shadows. The air was warm and heavy with a sweet scent. He looked around, trying to guess what kind of labor this was. "Am I supposed to clean? Repair something?" he asked. The elder appeared again, his expression unreadable. "No repairs, no cleaning. You will help continue our line." Evan blinked. "Continue your line?" The elder nodded slowly. "Our kind is fading. Our seed no longer lives. You were sent to us, by fate or chance, to bring life again." Evan laughed nervously. "Wait, you're saying I'm here to—" But the elder raised a hand. "Do not fear. You will not be harmed. Everything will be explained once your partner arrives." "Partner?" "Yes," the elder said. "Tonight she will come to meet you. Until then, rest." Evan stepped back. "I didn't agree to this. I just needed a job, work, not—" He trailed off, realizing how outnumbered he was. The elder's tone softened. "You will understand. We do not force, we ask." They left him alone in a wide chamber. The walls glowed faintly with blue veins, like rivers of lies. In one corner was a small bed, carved from stone but smooth and warm to the touch. Evan sat down, trying to process what he'd heard. Was this a joke? Some alien ritual he didn't understand? He thought about running away. But where would he go? The desert stretched endlessly outside, and his body was weak. He remembered the elders' eyes, sad, patient, as if they had already seen too many deaths. Maybe this was something sacred to them. Maybe making babies didn't even mean what he thought it did. Still, his chest felt heavy. He whispered to himself, "I just wanted to survive, not this." Hours passed. The light dimmed. The air grew cooler, filled with a low hum that vibrated through the floor. Then, as the moons rose again, the door opened without a sound. A figure stepped inside, tall, slender, with silver hair that flowed like water. Her eyes glowed softly, reflecting the blue light of the chamber. She didn't speak at first. She just looked at him, studying his face, his hands, his fear. Then, in a calm, musical voice, she said, "Do not be afraid, human. It is my duty, too." Evan stood, heart pounding. Who are you?" "My name is Lyra," she said, taking a slow step forward. "And tonight, we begin what your kind calls creation." Her hand lifted, fingertips glowing faintly as she reached toward his chest. The air around them thickened, almost alive. Evan couldn't move, caught between fear and something deeper, something pulling at his soul. When her hand touched him, his vision blurred. A flash of light, a surge of warmth, and suddenly the world felt different. He gasped, staring into her glowing eyes. And for the first time since the crash, Evan felt like destiny had found him. When Evan opened his eyes, he wasn't in the crystal hall anymore. He was lying on a soft bed made of glowing threads that pulsed faintly like breathing silk. The walls shimmered gently, showing slow-moving patterns, waves of blue and gold that reminded him of ocean tides. Lyra was sitting beside him, silent, watching him with calm eyes. Her hand rested on her lap, the faint glow from her skin fading away. "What happened?" Evan whispered. His throat felt dry. "You fainted," Lyra said softly. "The bond touched you for the first time. It always happens to humans." "The bond?" She looked down, hesitating. "It's what joins two souls when they agree to continue life together. But you didn't agree. Yet the bond formed on its own." Evan sat up slowly. His heart was still racing. "I didn't mean for that to happen." Lyra's gaze softened. "Neither did I. But perhaps the stars meant it for us." Outside, the sound of soft bells drifted in the air, not metal, but wind chimes made from crystal leaves. The whole village seemed to hum with quiet joy. When Evan stepped outside, he saw the aliens, the Valorans, walking gracefully through narrow paths lined with glowing flowers. Every face that turned toward him smiled, not a forced smile, not an empty one, but a warm, calm expression that made his confusion even deeper. Everyone seemed to know him. Everyone bowed their heads slightly, murmuring, "The chosen, the breather of life." He wanted to ask Lyra what that meant, but she was already guiding him down a winding path toward a small lake at the center of the valley. The water shimmered silver, reflecting the twin moons. Children, or something like them, played near the edge, small beings with transparent skin that caught the light like glass. Evan stopped, staring. "They're alive?" "Yes," Lyra said. "The last of the born generation. None came after them. Our world grew silent. Until you came." Evan crouched beside the water, touching the surface. It felt warm, almost alive, rippling with faint light. You think I can fix that? You think I can just make life happen? Lyra didn't answer immediately. Her gaze drifted toward the horizon. When our energy fades, the sky dims. When our hearts stop creating, the stars forget us. You are not here to fix us, Evan. You are here to remind us how to live. He frowned. I'm not some chosen hero. I'm just a guy who got lost. Lyra smiled, a small human-like smile that caught him off guard. Sometimes, being lost is how destiny finds you. That night, they shared dinner beneath a massive crystal tree that glowed from its roots. The elder sat across from them, watching quietly as Evan tried the alien food, soft spheres of glowing fruit and a drink that tasted like cool air and rain. When Evan asked again about his job, the elder only said, "You will meet the Council of Seeds tomorrow. They will decide the rhythm of your work." Lyra's eyes darkened slightly at that. After the meal, when they walked together through the quiet streets, Evan noticed how her steps grew slower, hesitant. "You don't like them," he said. "The Council?" She nodded faintly. "They value survival more than feeling. They will ask things of you, of us, that go beyond choice." Her voice trembled, just a little. Evan noticed. "You volunteered, didn't you?" She looked up at him, her silver hair catching the moonlight. "Yes, but not for duty." "Then why?" Lyra stopped walking. Her gaze met his, glowing faintly. "Because when you touched my hand earlier, I felt something that no Valoran has felt for centuries. Warmth, emotion, life." Evan didn't know what to say. The air around them was silent except for the hum of the glowing trees. Then she whispered, "You think you came here for a job. But what if your soul was chosen long before your ship ever fell from the sky?" Before he could answer, a sudden vibration rippled through the ground, a low pulse that made the lake in the distance flicker with light. Lyra turned toward it, her expression tightening. "They are calling me." "Who?" Evan asked. "The Council." Her voice dropped. "Stay here, please. Do not follow." She walked away quickly, vanishing between the crystal paths. Evan stood alone under the glowing branches, his heart heavy. The village looked peaceful. But now he could feel it, an undertone of tension, like something hidden beneath the calm smiles. Hours passed before she returned. Her eyes looked different now, dimmer, like something had been taken from her. "What happened?" he asked. "They gave their approval," she said softly. "Tomorrow, the merging begins." Merging. She turned away. "Sleep, Evan. You will need your strength." But he didn't sleep. He couldn't. The word echoed in his mind. Merging. What did that mean? Was it truly some spiritual connection, or something deeper, something physical? He remembered the elder's words, "You will help continue our line," and Lyra's expression, that mix of duty and sadness. Maybe she didn't want this either. Maybe both of them were trapped in some ritual far beyond human understanding. He stared at the glowing ceiling of his room. The lights pulsed like a heartbeat, his, hers, theirs. At dawn, he heard footsteps outside. When he stepped out, a small group of Valorans stood waiting, dressed in flowing white robes. Their smiles were calm, too calm. The elder spoke first. "The sun rises for the first bonding. You will come with us." Lyra stood behind them, eyes downcast. Evan felt his stomach twist. "No one asked if I wanted this." The elder nodded slowly. "You did not refuse." Evan stepped back. "Because I didn't understand." For a moment, silence. Then the elder's calm voice broke it. "Understanding is not required for destiny. The villagers bowed slightly, their faces still serene, smiling, always smiling. As they led him toward the crystal hall, Evan glanced at Lyra. She looked back, eyes glistening with what might have been tears. "Lyra," he whispered, "tell me what they're hiding." She didn't answer, only whispered, "I will protect you." But deep inside, Evan knew. She was just as much a prisoner as he was. The closer they came to Tui Hall, the brighter it glowed, like the heart of a living being waiting to wake. The same strange humming filled the air, low and hypnotic. The villagers gathered silently around, their faces serene, their smiles unbroken. Evan's hands trembled. He could feel the energy crawling under his skin, calling to him. Lyra walked beside him, pale, silent, her hand brushing his for a second. A silent promise of something human in a world that no longer understood what that meant. When they reached the gates, the elder said softly, "Today, the village rejoices. The first true merging begins." Evan turned toward Lyra. Her lips parted as if she wanted to speak. But before she could, the gate slid open, bathing them both in blinding light. And from within the glow, something moved. Something that shouldn't exist. Light swallowed everything. Evan tried to cover his eyes, but the glow pierced through his fingers. It wasn't just brightness. It was warmth, like the sun itself had reached inside his chest. He felt the air thicken, humming softly, as if the whole hall were alive and breathing. Then the glow dimmed. Shapes appeared again, curved walls made of translucent crystal, flowing like frozen waves. Dozens of pods lined the sides, each pulsing gently with pale blue light. In the center stood a stone platform etched with spiraling symbols. Lyra walked forward, calm but trembling. Evan followed, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. The elder stepped beside them, his voice echoing like a whisper inside Evan's skull. "Here begins the melding of essence. Your breath and hers will join, so our line may wake again." Evan swallowed hard. "I don't understand what that means." "You will," the elder said, "when the bond chooses." Lyra turned to him, her silver eyes soft. "It will hurt at first," she said quietly, "but do not pull away. If you do, both of us will fade." Evan stared at her, the sadness on her face, the gentleness in her trembling hands. He wanted to protest, to demand answers. But something inside him whispered, "Trust her." The villagers began to hum, a deep, slow rhythm that matched the beating of his heart. Lyra reached out both hands, palms glowing faintly. Evan hesitated, then placed his hands in hers. The moment their skin touched, the air exploded with color. The crystal walls shifted from blue to gold to red, swirling like living fire. Evan gasped as a rush of warmth flooded through him. Not pain, not exactly, but overwhelming. Memories flashed before his eyes, his childhood on Earth, his mother's laughter, the rain, the sky, the sound of birds. And then, memories that weren't his. Lyra's childhood, her world before it dimmed, a field of silver trees, a mother's song that echoed through eternity. He saw through her eyes, her loneliness, her fear of extinction, her quiet hope when she first saw his crashed ship fall through the clouds. He stumbled backward, dizzy. "I'm seeing—" "Yes," Lyra whispered. "You are inside me, and I inside you. Our hearts are remembering together." Tears rolled down his cheeks without permission. For the first time, he understood. The bond wasn't about control. It was about sharing everything. But then, the humming changed. It grew deeper, darker. The pods around the chamber began to vibrate. The elder's voice boomed. Their energy rises too fast. Separate them! Before anyone could move, a beam of pure light erupted between Evan and Lyra. Their hands locked together. They couldn't break apart. Evan's veins glowed gold, Lyra's shimmered blue, and where their palms met, the colors twisted into white flame. Lyra cried out, but she didn't let go. Evan shouted, "What's happening?" She gasped, "It's too much. The bond, it's perfect." Then the platform cracked. The walls around them split with spider veins of light. The villagers fell to their knees, chanting words Evan couldn't understand. The elder raised his arms. "Balance them, or both will burn." But Lyra looked at Evan, tears glowing on her cheeks. "Don't let go," she whispered. "Please, whatever happens, stay." He didn't understand why, but he obeyed. The white flame pulsed once, twice. Then a shockwave burst outward, throwing everyone back. Silence. Evan collapsed to his knees, breath shaking. The light between them faded slowly. When he looked up, Lyra was still there, alive, her hair floating like smoke in slow motion. The elder approached, wide-eyed. "Impossible," he whispered. "A perfect merge. It hasn't happened in 1,000 cycles." Lyra's voice trembled. He survived." Evan wiped sweat from his brow. "Barely." The elder's expression turned from awe to fear. "The bond completed itself. It means your essences are now one. You share breath, heart, and memory. If one dies, the other dies," Lyra finished softly. Evan froze. "Wait, what? You mean we're bound?" she said. "Completely." He stepped back, dizzy. "I didn't ask for this. I didn't want—" Lyra's eyes shimmered with hurt. "Do you think I did?" He stopped. The pain in her voice pierced him deeper than fear. "I volunteered to save my people," she said. "But the moment I saw you, I realized saving them might mean losing myself." Evan looked down at his hands. They still glowed faintly, her light flickering inside his skin. The elder broke the silence. "The council will not allow this union to stand without purpose. They will demand proof of renewal." Lyra's face went pale. "You mean—" "Yes," said the elder. "The creation phase must begin immediately." Evan frowned. "Creation phase? What does that even mean?" Lyra turned away, whispering, "It means we must bring life before they decide to end us." That night, they were confined inside a chamber of crystal and vines. Lyra sat by the window, watching the twin moons rise. Evan sat opposite, too shaken to speak. Finally, he said quietly, "If we're linked, I can feel your heartbeat." She smiled faintly. "Then you know I'm afraid." He nodded. Yeah, me too." Lyra looked at him, her expression softening. "Do you regret saving me from the ritual?" "I didn't save you. You saved me." He paused. "Back there, when I saw your memories, your world was beautiful. I wish I could have seen it before it started dying." Lyra's eyes glistened. "Maybe you still can. Maybe we can make it live again." The silence that followed was gentle, almost peaceful, but underneath it ran a deep current of fear. Because outside, in the dark corridors of the Crystal City, the council whispered among themselves. "The merge has succeeded," said one. "Too well," another hissed. "If the human carries our spark, he could also destroy it. Their kind is unstable." The eldest voice murmured, "Then watch him. If his bond turns dark, end it before dawn." Inside the chamber, Evan finally drifted into restless sleep. But as he dreamed, he saw flashes, visions of unborn children glowing like stars, of Lyra screaming, of himself fading into light. He woke gasping. Lyra was already awake, sitting beside him, holding his hand. "It begins soon," she whispered. "When the suns rise, they'll start the creation phase." He stared at her, at the quiet courage in her eyes. "Then whatever happens," he said, "we face it together." Lyra's lips trembled, but she nodded. Together. Outside, the first rays of dawn painted the sky in gold. The hum of the village grew louder, eager, waiting, and deep beneath the hall of continuance, hidden from all, a heartbeat unlike any other had begun to echo. The first sunrise of Valora touched the crystal valley with soft golden light. Every beam reflected through the transparent towers, turning the whole village into a field of glowing glass. But inside the chamber, Evan and Lyra sat in silence, bound by something far stronger than light. Neither spoke. They could hear each other's heartbeat, faint, steady, connected. When one breathed, the other's chest rose in perfect rhythm. The bond was complete, but something inside them was still changing. Lyra's eyes were distant, lost in thought. "Do you feel it too?" she whispered. Evan nodded. "It's like I can sense everything around us, even the heartbeat of the walls." She smiled faintly. "That's not the walls, Evan. That's the pulse of Valora itself. You're part of it now." He looked down at his hands. Faint golden light shimmered beneath his skin. "This isn't normal, is it?" "No," Lyra said softly. "It's never happened before. Our ancestors dreamed of a perfect bond. Two souls joined without pain, without loss, but it was only legend." Evan stared at her. "And now it's us." Lyra nodded slowly, eyes glistening. "Yes, but legends never come without cost." Outside, the village moved like a living dream. Every Valoran wore a calm smile, whispering blessings when they saw Evan and Lyra walk by. Children laughed and followed them through the glowing gardens. To the people, they weren't captives, they were miracles. But Evan could feel something darker behind the smiles. When the elders looked at him, their expressions were too calm, too controlled. It was as if they were afraid of something they couldn't admit. He tried to ask Lyra about it, but she always changed the subject. Instead, she showed him their world, the gardens of glowing vines, the songs sung by wind crystals, the lakes that reflected stars even during daylight. Each place she took him carried a sea of her heart, and the more he saw, the more he understood what she was trying to protect. One evening, as they stood beside the silver lake, Lyra knelt down and touched the water. It shimmered beneath her fingers, forming ripples of light that spread outward like petals. "Our people were born from this," she said quietly, "from the lake that remembers, but it no longer gives life. The bond, our bond, might awaken it again." Evan watched the reflection of her face, beautiful, fragile, full of hope. "Lyra, do you really believe that?" She looked up at him. "I have to. Without hope, we're already dead." The wind carried her words away, leaving only silence. That night, Evan woke suddenly. The room glowed softly, and Lyra was standing by the window, her body surrounded by faint blue light. "Lyra?" he whispered. She turned slowly, and for a moment he couldn't breathe. Her skin was glowing brighter than ever, veins of light running across her neck and arms. Her eyes burned silver, not with pain, but with something powerful. "I can feel them," she said, her voice trembling. "Every heartbeat in the village, every breath, even the seeds in the soil." Evan stood, worried. "You're burning up. Sit down." She shook her head. "No, This is what awakening feels like. It means the life inside us is growing. Life? He repeated. Lyra stepped closer. Our merge. It wasn't just a joining of souls. It began creation. He stared at her, realizing what she meant. You mean? Yes, she whispered. I'm carrying the first spark. Our child. Evan froze. The air seemed to stop. For a moment, he couldn't speak, only look into her glowing eyes as his mind tried to catch up. How? He said finally, voice breaking. Lyra smiled faintly through her tears. The bond made it happen on its own. It's not flesh yet. It's energy, still forming. But it's real. He reached out, almost, afraid to touch her. When his hand brushed her cheek, the glow beneath her skin pulsed softly, like a heartbeat answering his touch. A tear rolled down his face. I don't know what to say. Say nothing, Lyra whispered. Just promise me one thing. What? That you won't let them take it from us. Before he could respond, the door slid open. The elder entered quietly, his expression unreadable. So, it begins, he said. Lyra turned, instinctively stepping between Evan and the elder. You can't have it. Not yet. The elder's tone stayed calm. Child, you misunderstand. We wish only to study, to guide its growth. Evan clenched his fists. She's not a science project. Neither is what's growing inside her. The elder's gaze shifted to him. Human emotion is a flame, beautiful, but dangerous. If uncontrolled, it can burn worlds. Evan stepped forward. Then let it burn if it means saving her. For the first time, the elder's calm expression cracked. You speak like one of us, he said quietly. Perhaps too much. He turned to leave, pausing at the door. The council will decide what happens at dawn. When the door closed again, Lyra collapsed against Evan's chest, trembling. They will try to separate us, she whispered. They think the child could destroy the balance of our kind. Evan held her tightly. Then they'll have to go through me first. Lyra smiled weakly. You always say that like it's easy. He brushed her hair back. Because loving you is the only easy thing left in this world. Hours later, while she slept in his arms, Evan stared at the faint glow pulsing beneath her skin. It was real. Their bond had created life. Not human, not Valoran. Something new. He felt warmth bloom in his chest, mixed with fear and awe. How could something so beautiful also be so dangerous? Outside, the night sky shimmered, the twin moons glowing brighter than ever. And far above them, in the deep stars, something stirred, a faint signal that flickered once, then vanished. Evan didn't see it, but the elder did. He stood on a balcony high above the valley, staring into the sky. So it begins, he whispered to himself. The human seed awakens the ancient code, if it grows unchecked. He closed his eyes. Valora will change forever. Below, in the quiet chamber, Lyra murmured in her sleep, her hand resting over her heart. Evan's hand covered hers. Their heartbeats merged again, steady, strong, one sound in the silence. And in that shared rhythm, a faint second pulse began to echo. Small, fragile, but alive. The first heartbeat of a new world. Dawn came slow and silver over Valora. Evan woke to find Lyra already sitting by the window, hands folded over her heart. The glow under her skin was softer today, like a candle shielding its flame from wind. Did you sleep? He asked. A little, she said, without turning. I listened to the heartbeat. It kept me brave. He sat beside her. For a moment they said nothing. The lake outside mirrored the sky, and the village moved with quiet steps, all smiles, all calm. But underneath that calm lay a pressure Evan could feel now, like the whole valley was holding its breath. A soft chime sounded at the door. Lyra stood. The council. The elder entered with 2 attendants dressed in pale white. They bowed, eyes gentle, mouths set in those same calm smiles. "The creation phase must be monitored," the elder said, "for your safety, for ours." Evan's fists tightened. "What does monitored mean?" The elder's gaze flickered to Lyra's hands, folded over her heart. "It means we measure what grows, and guide it. We have learned from past attempts." "Past attempts?" Evan asked. "What attempts?" Lyra looked at the floor. "He means the other humans." Evan felt something cold slide through him. "You told me I was the first." "No," the elder said softly. "We told you you were a fit." He gestured. "Come. The council will share what must be known." Lyra took Evan's hand. He could feel her fear in the tremble of her fingers. They walked the crystal paths, past gardens of glowing leaves and quiet faces. As they neared the center of the valley, the air grew cooler, the light dimmer. A circular door slid open, revealing a corridor that slanted downward like a throat. "The Hall of Continuance," the elder said, "has many levels." They descended. The hum in the walls deepened until it felt like they were walking inside a heartbeat. Vines of light ran along the ceiling. On each side were sealed archways with faded symbols, spirals, waves, eyes. At the lowest level, the corridor widened into a chamber. The air smelled faintly of rain. In the center stood a ring of crystal pillars, each one holding a soft glow within. Around the ring were 8 low platforms. Beneath a clear floor, veins of light pulsed in slow rhythm. Lyra gripped Evan's hand tighter. "This is not the council room," she said. "This is the place of trials." The elder nodded. It was. Evan stared at the pillars. "What are those lights?" The elder walked to the nearest column and rested a palm against it. The glow inside responded, brightening. A figure formed within the light, a human silhouette, not a person, a memory. "Your kind answered our messages long ago," the elder said. "Some came by chance, others by promise. We told them what we told you, that a job waited here, shelter, food, purpose." His voice softened. "Hope." The light shifted. The silhouette reached out as if begging. "None of them survived the merge," the elder said. "Not fully. The bond started. Then the human flame burned too hard, too wild. The essence broke. The Valoran partner also faded because our energy copies the rhythm we touch." Evan swallowed. "You killed them." "No," the elder said, and for the first time his voice held pain. "We tried to save them. We slowed the merge. We reduced the contact. We turned love into a careful equation. The more we measured, the more it failed." He pressed the next pillar. Another shape, smaller, hunched. "We tried with Volantim acid." "Here." "Another. We tried with those who were afraid." "Another. We tried with those who believed in destiny." The last pillar brightened. The light inside was dimmer, slower. The silhouette flickered and went out. Lyra's eyes glistened. "How many?" The elder closed his eyes. 8 humans. 8 of ours. The village smiles because we do not know how else to carry grief." Silence stretched between them. Even the hum in the walls seemed to pause. Evan's voice was rough. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you would have run," the elder said. "And because you must know this now. Your merge is different." He nodded toward Lyra. "Perfect. Balanced. It should be impossible." Lyra whispered, "Why him?" The elder's gaze shifted to Evan. Human compassion burns hot, it consumes, but yours holds. You choose to bear pain without breaking. That is rare. That is why you lived. Evan could not speak. He thought of his mother's small apartment, the years of swallowing fear to keep others calm, the quiet choices no one saw. He had never imagined those choices would matter on a world made of crystal and light. The elder continued, "But the perfect merge awakens old things, ancient codes in our blood. The lake remembers, yes, but something else remembers too." "What do you mean?" Lyra asked. The floor beneath them pulsed once, like a heartbeat answering his words. The elder hesitated. "I will show you." He touched the ring of pillars again. The floor turned clear. Beneath the crystal, far below, lay a cavern of dark stone veined with light, like lightning trapped in rock. In its center, a structure slept, half organic, half machine, curved like a shell, ribs wrapped around a glowing core. Lyra's voice was barely a breath. "I thought it was myth." "The seed engine," the elder said. "From before our records began. It once guided creation. It calculates patterns of life and makes them real. When our gift faded, it went quiet. Your merging reawakened it." He looked at Evan. "It tasted your bond. It recognized the shape of a new line." Evan stared through the glass. The engine looked like something alive that had chosen to sleep rather than die. "Is that good?" The elder's calm face finally cracked. Fear leaked through. "If guided gently, yes. If pushed, no." He faced them. "The council believes the seed engine will remake us in your image. They fear we will become something that is neither Valoran nor human, something we can no longer recognize. They will attempt to separate you, to slow the bond, to take what grows and place it under the engine's control." Lyra stepped forward, eyes bright. "They cannot take our child." "They will try," the elder said. "Not with blades, with smiles, with promises, with sleep." "Sleep?" Evan asked. The elder turned to one of the side archways and waved his hand. The seal dissolved. Inside, a small room held a single chair and a crown of woven crystal filaments. "We use this to calm the human flame," he said. "It lowers the heart. It eases fear. It makes the bond quiet." "How many times did you use it?" Evan asked. "Enough," the elder said. Lyra's hand found Evan's. He felt her shaking. "We won't let them," she whispered. "We won't let anyone put that on you, or on me." A new voice spoke from the doorway. "You won't have a choice." They turned. 3 counselors stood there, robes white as frost, smiles gentle, eyes like polished stone. "The village must live," the tallest one said. "Your love is beautiful, but beauty without control is disaster." The elder stepped between them. "No, we agreed to guide, not to break." The counselor's smile sharpened a hair. "And if guiding fails?" He nodded, and attendants slid past, silent as breath. 2 moved toward Lyra with a veil of silver thread. 2 moved toward Evan with the crown. Evan's heart thundered. The bond flared hot, gold in his veins, blue in Lyra's. The seed engine pulsed below, waking, listening. "Don't touch him," Lyra said, voice steady. "Do not make this violent," the counselor replied. "You asked for mercy. This is mercy." The crown hovered near Evan's head. He could feel its cold whisper before it touched. He saw the fear in Lyra's face. He saw the sadness in the elder's eyes. He saw the pillars, the 8 ghosts of those who had trusted and never risen. And something inside him stood up. "No," Evan said. The crown lowered. The attendants paused, confused by the sudden drop in sound, because the hum in the walls had gone silent again. "Do you feel that?" the elder whispered. Everyone froze. Beneath the floor, the seed engine woke fully. Light surged up the pillars like water rising through glass. The chamber bloomed in white. The crown cracked in the attendant's hands. The silver veil dissolved into dust. Evan and Lyra were lifted a few inches from the floor by a soft, unseen force. The bond between them burned bright as a star. Their breath moved as one, their hearts hammered in a single rhythm. The counselors stepped back, faces finally losing their smiles. The elder whispered, awed and afraid, "It has chosen." The light faded, but the change did not. Lyra's glow settled into a tender pulse beneath her skin. 2 beats now, not 1. Evan felt it as if it lived inside his own chest. The child had chosen to live. The engine had chosen to protect. The counselor's voice was thin. "Contain them." The attendants did not move. They were crying. Evan took Lyra's hand. He felt no fear, only a clear line inside himself that pointed forward. "What happens now?" he asked the elder. The elder looked from Evan to Lyra, to the pillars, to the floor where the ancient machine breathed again. "Now," he said, voice shaking, "the village will have to decide what it means to survive." Far above them, a distant chime rang through the valley. A warning bell. Valera had not heard for 100 lifetimes. Lyra's eyes widened. "What?" The warning bell echoed through the crystal valley, a sound that hadn't been heard in centuries. It was low, trembling, almost mournful, and with each pulse, the lights in the village flickered like a heart struggling to beat. Lyra clutched her chest, gasping softly. The glow beneath her skin pulsed faster, brighter, painful now. Evan caught her before she could fall. "What's happening to you?" he whispered. She shook her head, eyes unfocused. "It's the child. It's awakening too fast." The elder, pale with fear, said, "The seed engine is drawing its energy from her. It's taking what it needs to live. If it doesn't stop—" Evan's voice cracked. "It'll kill her?" The elder nodded once. "And you with her. The bond makes you one." Evan looked at Lyra, her skin now almost translucent, the light under her veins flickering like liquid fire. He could feel her heartbeat inside his own ribs, fast, frantic, fading. "No," he said quietly. "There has to be another way." The elder hesitated. "The engine feeds on energy freely given. If one life offers enough will, it can stop the drain. But that life will be gone." Evan didn't blink. "Then take mine." Lyra's eyes snapped open. "No!" She tried to rise, but her knees gave out. The light around her flared dangerously, filling the room with heat. Evan held her face in both hands. "You said once the bond is about sharing everything. Then let me share this too." Tears streamed down her glowing cheeks. "If you do that, you'll fade with the dawn. I'll wake to emptiness again." Evan smiled gently. "Then promise me something." She shook her head, trembling. "Don't." He brushed his thumb across her lips. "Promise you'll keep living. For both of us." Lyra broke down, clutching his shirt, sobbing soundlessly as the light around them grew wild. The elder stepped forward, pressing his hand to the glowing floor. "The engine can hear you," he said. "Speak your choice, human. The seed answers only to truth." Evan closed his eyes. His heartbeat slowed. When he spoke, his voice was soft, steady, almost like prayer. "I give what I am, not because I'm told to, but because I choose to." The floor beneath them ignited. A column of golden white light rose around Evan and Lyra, wrapping them in warmth. The hum deepened, turning into a sound that felt more like emotion than noise. Grief, love, longing. Lyra's glow flared brighter than ever, her body trembling in his arms. The room shook. Cracks raced across the crystal walls like lightning veins. The villagers fell to their knees outside, watching through the glowing dome as light filled the hall of continuance. Inside, Evan whispered to her ear, "It's all right. You're not alone." Lyra reached up weakly, her fingers tracing the side of his face. "I can't lose you." He smiled, tears mixing with the light. "You never will. I'm right here." Her breath hitched. "Evan." "Close your eyes," he whispered, "and listen." A stillness came, like the world had taken one deep breath. Then, a pulse of energy burst outward, rippling across the valley like dawn breaking over a sleeping sea. The seed engine below them came alive, its core blazing with radiant light. Through the crystal floor, a river of pure energy flowed up into Lyra's body. Her veins glowed gold and blue, her skin luminous. Evan held her close as the warmth passed through both of them. He could feel himself fading. Not pain, just release. Like falling into sunlight. He saw flashes of memory. The crash, the loneliness, the first time she smiled at him, the trembling fear in her voice when she said, "Don't be afraid." And now, her heart beating against his, stronger, steadier. He whispered, "That's it. Breathe." Lyra gasped, and the air around them exploded with light. Two smaller pulses, faint, beautiful, echoed from within her. The child's heartbeat. The engine roared like 1,000 voices singing together. Lyra's body lifted, weightless, her hair spreading in waves of silver fire. Evan's arms still around her, though his form had begun to fade, edges glowing white. She felt it, his warmth slipping through her fingers. "No, please." Her voice broke the silence. The light dimmed. The hum softened. And then, silence. The hall stood still. The villagers rose slowly, shielding their eyes as the last of the light fell like golden dust. At the center of the floor, Lyra knelt, cradling two small orbs of light in her arms. Her face was wet with tears. The glow in her skin was gentle now, peaceful. Evan was gone. Only faint motes of gold shimmered where he had stood, floating upward, dissolving into the air like starlight. The elder approached quietly, his voice trembling. He gave himself completely. The engine is calm. The valley lives. Lyra looked up at him, tears falling freely. He was the first human to understand what love means to our kind. The elder bowed deeply. He gave you life, and through you, us. She smiled weakly, gazing at the light she held, twin spheres pulsing softly in rhythm. Two heartbeats. Her voice broke into a whisper. "You hear that, Evan? They live." The faintest shimmer of gold in the air pulsed once, as if answering her. She closed her eyes, smiling through tears. Days later, the valley changed. The lake's surface began to glow again. The trees shimmered with renewed energy, and new flowers opened where none had grown in centuries. The villagers said it was the Earthborn's gift, a life that taught even the stars how to love again. Lyra often walked to the lake at dusk, the twins cradled close to her heart. She spoke softly to the air, to the light that sometimes shimmered like a warm breath beside her. "Every time they laugh," she said, "I feel you." The wind would answer, stirring her hair, carrying warmth through the night air. Chaun. And though no one could see him, every pulse of light across the water seemed to follow her footsteps, the gentle echo of the human who refused to let her face the dark alone. The legend would say in time that a man of another world gave his life so that an alien race could remember how to feel again. But Lyra knew better. He hadn't died to save them. He had simply loved, completely, freely, until even the universe listened. She pressed her hand to her chest, where two heartbeats now lived beside her own, and whispered, "Sleep in the light, my love. You're still here, in all of us." The lake shimmered softly, glowing gold beneath the stars, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the night on Valora felt alive again. The light over Valora was different now. Where once the skies were cold glass and gray mist, now soft gold shimmered through the air, warm, alive, like a dawn that never truly ended. Every living thing had begun to breathe differently. The plants glowed again, the rivers hummed faint songs. Even the stars seemed to hang lower, curious, as if watching something precious unfold. At the heart of it all stood Lyra, the last mother of the old world and the first of the new. Her home faced the silver lake that Evan had loved. The wind carried the same gentle hum it once had, but now there was laughter too. Two tiny voices chasing each other across the glowing grass. The children, twins, one boy, one girl, ran barefoot, their skin shining faintly like morning dew. They had Evan's eyes, bright, curious, and human. But when they laughed, their voices sang with the tone of Valora itself, soft, harmonic, pure. Lyra watched them from the porch, her heart filled with something too vast for words. When they turned to her, calling Mother, the sound was half music, half memory. She smiled, wiping tears that were more joy than sorrow. "They have your courage," she whispered to the air, "and your stubbornness too." The lake shimmered, just a small ripple, almost like the water was answering. It always did when she spoke his name. Years had passed since the night the seed engine awakened. The villagers still spoke of it in hushed awe, calling it the human dawn. For generations, they had lived with peaceful smiles, but without true feeling. They had forgotten what it meant to ache, to long, to love. Now, emotions had returned, raw and real. Some wept, some laughed, some simply stood in silence as tears of light rolled down their faces. The elder had called it the return of the pulse. No one forced calm anymore. The smiles were still there, but now they carried story. Sorrow, joy, pain, gratitude. And always, at the center of those stories, was the same name whispered like prayer, Evan. Each dawn, Lyra would take the twins to the Hall of Continuance. It was no longer a place of trial, but of remembrance. The cracked pillars still stood, but the seed engine beneath them had changed. Where once it hummed with cold logic, it now pulsed gently, like a heart. It no longer took energy from life, it gave it back. Sometimes, when the children placed their small hands on the crystal floor, light spread out beneath their palms, forming shapes that danced. Trees, stars, rivers, the engine responded only to them. "They carry both worlds," the elder once said. "They are bridges, half human, half Valoran, fully alive." Lyra watched them draw shapes of light and wondered if Evan could see through their eyes. She liked to believe he could. One evening, when the suns dipped low and the lake turned into molten silver, Lyra sat alone by the water's edge. The twins had fallen asleep inside, curled together beneath a blanket that still smelled faintly of metal and rain. The scent of earth, brought long ago by the man who crashed here. The wind brushed against her face. "Still watching me?" she murmured. The lake rippled gently, golden light scattering like laughter. Lyra closed her eyes and spoke softly, almost afraid to break the peace. "You gave everything, but what you left behind isn't pain. It's life." She touched the ground beside her where wildflowers had begun to grow. Their petals glowed faintly, half gold, half blue, the colors of their bond. "The council disbanded," she continued. "No more forced calm, No more fear of the flame. They learned what you tried to teach. That feeling isn't weakness. It's what keeps us alive. She smiled sadly, even when it hurts. For a moment, she thought she heard his voice. Not a sound, just warmth that filled her chest. I never left. Tears filled her eyes, but she was smiling now. The elder visited her the next day. His once silver hair had turned white, and his steps were slow, but his eyes were peaceful. "The council asked me to deliver this," he said, holding out a small crystal tablet. Lyra took it gently. It glowed at her touch, projecting faint light. Words written in 2 languages, one human, one Valoran. It was a decree, a new name for the world. Valora Evanis, the world reborn by human hands. Lyra traced the letters, her breath catching. "He'd laugh at that," she said softly. The elder smiled. "He would, but he would also be proud." He looked toward the twins playing near the water. "The stars are watching this place again. We've sent signals, not of begging, but of welcome. If another human ship hears, they will find us ready, not broken." "Would he have wanted that?" Lyra asked. "Yes," the elder said. "He came from the stars, but he gave his heart to this soil. You, your children. You are the promise he left behind." That night, when the twins had fallen asleep, Lyra walked outside once more. The lake shimmered under the twin moons. She looked up at the sky and whispered, "They named the world for you, my love, but I named my heart after you long ago." She knelt by the water, touching its surface. It glowed under her hand, spreading golden ripples. Then, faintly, a figure appeared in the reflection. Not clear, not solid, just light-shaped like the man she had loved. He smiled, that same gentle, human smile that had changed everything. His voice was a breath across the waves. "I told you, Lyra, sometimes humanity isn't about where we come from, but what we choose to give." Tears streamed down her face. "And you gave everything." "No," the voice said. "I gave you." The reflection faded as the ripples stilled. But the warmth stayed. In the air, in the water, in her chest. Lyra looked up at the stars, brighter than ever, as if every one of them had remembered his name. She whispered, "Sleep well, my human. Your light lives in us all." The wind moved softly through the trees, carrying her words to the endless sky. Centuries later, when travelers from distant worlds visited Valora Evanis, they would hear a story sung in soft tones by glowing children near the lakeside. It was the story of a man who fell from the stars, a man who came not with weapons, but with kindness, a man who showed an alien world how to feel again. They called him Evan, the giver of light. And every night, when the twin moons rose together, the lake would glow gold, as if somewhere, somehow, the human heart that changed a species still beat softly across eternity.